Your ambitions are too big for a girl. The words still echo in my head 20 years later, sharp as broken glass. My father's voice, dripping with that particular brand of condescension reserved for daughters who dare to dream beyond their station. My name is Penelope, and I built my life on proving him wrong. The memory hits me as I'm reviewing case files in my penthouse office, the city sprawling beneath floor-to-ceiling windows. 29th floor, corner suite, my name etched in gold on the door downstairs. Dunn Roberts Law, founding partner. The irony isn't lost on me that I kept the family name, even after everything. Penny, sweetheart, law school is so expensive, my mother had said, not looking up from her magazine. Wouldn't you rather find a nice husband? Carter's going to need help with his business ventures. Carter, my golden boy brother, 3 years younger and a lifetime more beloved. I can still see him at his high school graduation, our parents beaming as he announced his plans to revolutionize entrepreneurship. Meanwhile, I'd been filling out law school applications in secret, working double shifts at the campus bookstore to save for application fees. The phone buzzes against my desk. The caller ID makes my blood freeze. Home. I haven't spoken to my parents in 4 years. Not since Carter's last business setback, when they'd asked me to loan him $50,000. I'd said no. They'd called me selfish. The conversation had ended with my father hanging up on me. I let it ring twice more before answering. Penelope Dunn. Penny? My mother's voice sounds smaller than I remember, strained. It's Mum. I know who it is. Silence stretches between us. I can hear her breathing, that little catch she gets when she's nervous. We need to talk, urgently. About what? It's Carter. There's been some trouble, legal trouble. I lean back in my leather chair, watching the sun set over the city I conquered. What kind of legal trouble? The kind that requires a very good lawyer. The audacity is breathtaking. 4 years of silence, and now they want something. Of course they do. I see. And you thought of me because? Because you're family. Her voice cracks slightly. And because you're the best lawyer we know. I'm the only lawyer you know. Penny, please, can we meet? Tomorrow, it's serious. I close my eyes, and for a moment I'm 12 again, watching Carter blow out candles on a birthday cake while I sat forgotten at the end of the table. I'm 16, overhearing my father tell his brother that at least Carter has potential. I'm 22, graduating summa cum laude from law school to an audience of 2, my roommate and her boyfriend, because my own family was at Carter's latest business launch party. Where? I ask. Could you come home? To the house? No. The word comes out harder than I intended. My office. Tomorrow at 2. Penny, I don't think you understand how serious this is. I understand perfectly. 2 o'clock. Don't be late. I hang up before she can respond. My assistant Fletcher pokes his head through the door. Everything okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. Something like that. I gather the case files, my hands steadier than they have any right to be. Clear my schedule for tomorrow afternoon. I'm expecting visitors. Anyone I should know about? Family. Fletcher's eyebrows shoot up. In the 5 years we've worked together, he's never heard me mention family. Should I prepare the good conference room? The best one. Make sure the nameplate on my door is polished. And Fletcher? I meet his eyes. Whatever happens tomorrow, whatever you hear, it stays between us. He nods, understanding the weight of what I'm not saying. After he leaves, I pour myself 3 fingers of bourbon and stand at the window. The city lights blur slightly as I think about the scared girl who used to hide her report cards because straight A's somehow made Carter C's look worse. The girl who learned to make herself small so her brother could shine brighter. That girl is gone. In her place stands a woman who's never lost a case, who's built an empire from nothing, who's earned every inch of respect through blood and brilliance. Tomorrow my family will walk into my domain. They'll see what their too ambitious daughter became, and then we'll see who really needs whom. The next morning, I arrive at the office 2 hours early. Fletcher finds me rearranging the conference room for the 3rd time. You're making me nervous, he says, setting down coffee, and I'm not even the one meeting with a strange family. Make sure the chairs on their side are the uncomfortable ones, the ones that squeak. Penelope. And dim the lights on their side of the table. I want them squinting. You're being petty. I'm being strategic. I adjust the angle of my chair so the morning sun will be directly behind me. They expect to walk in here and find the same little girl who used to beg for their approval. Instead, they're going to see exactly what they threw away. Fletcher shakes his head but doesn't argue. He knows better. At exactly 1:45, my assistant buzzes. Your 2:00 is here. Let them wait. I watch the clock tick. 2:05. 2:10. At 2:15, I finally walk to the conference room, my heels clicking against marble floors that cost more than most people's cars. They're huddled together at the far end of the table like refugees. My mother, Roberta, looks older than her 58 years, her usually perfect hair showing grey roots. My father, Clint, has the same arrogant set to his shoulders, but his expensive suit can't hide the way his hands shake slightly. And Carter. Golden boy Carter, looking like he hasn't slept in weeks. I don't sit down immediately. Instead, I let them take in the room, the original artwork, the view of the city, the subtle displays of my achievements. Awards line the walls, photos of me with judges, politicians, CEOs. You may address me as Miss Dunn, I say finally, taking my seat. Who's the client? My mother flinches. Penny, please, we're family. In this room, I'm an attorney. You're potential clients, so I'll ask again. Who needs representation? Carter clears his throat. I do. What's the charge? Charges, my father corrects, his voice tight. Multiple counts of fraud? Wire fraud? Securities violations? I pull out a legal pad, my expression neutral. How much money are we talking about? 2.3 million, Carter whispers. I don't let my surprise show, but inside, I'm impressed. Carter always dreamed big. I just never thought he'd dream this big. How many victims? 17 families, my mother says, dabbing her eyes with a tissue. But Penny, you have to understand, Carter never meant for anyone to get hurt. Intent isn't really relevant to the charges. I click my pen. Carter, walk me through what happened. He launches into a rambling explanation about cryptocurrency investments and guaranteed returns. The more he talks, the clearer it becomes that this wasn't some naive mistake. This was calculated, deliberate. So you took money from investors, promising them returns from a cryptocurrency fund that didn't exist. It existed. I mean, it was going to exist. I just needed more time to what? Create money out of thin air? My father leans forward. Penny, your brother made some mistakes, but he's not a criminal. He's just ambitious. The word hangs in the air between us. Ambitious. The same word they'd use to dismiss my dreams. Ambition doesn't typically involve taking other people's retirement funds. You don't understand, my mother says, her voice rising. The Hendersons lost their daughter's college fund. The Patels had to sell their house. These are people we know, people from our community, people whose money Carter stole. He didn't steal it, my father snaps. He invested it. The investments went bad. Dad, please, Carter says quietly. She's right. I took their money knowing the fund wasn't real yet. I thought I could make it work before anyone found out. Finally, a moment of honesty. When's your arraignment? Next week. And you want me to represent you? You're the best lawyer in the state, my mother says. Everyone says so. Everyone who? She falters. Well, I mean, your reputation. My reputation that you've never once acknowledged. The career you told me was too big for a girl. The room goes silent. Carter stares at his hands. My father's jaw tightens. That was a long time ago, my mother finally says. Not that long. I close my legal pad and stand. I'll need to review the prosecution's evidence before I can determine if I can help you. Hope flickers in their eyes. But I should warn you, my retainer is $200,000 up front. The hope dies instantly. 200,000? My father sputters. That's ridiculous. That's my rate for complex federal cases. But we're family, my mother pleads. Family, I repeat slowly. Interesting word choice. I walk toward the door, then pause. I'll be in touch. As I leave them sitting in that conference room, I can hear my mother crying softly. My father's angry whispers, Carter's silence, and for the first time in years, I smile. 3 days later, my mother calls again. We'll find the money, she says without preamble. The retainer. We'll get it. How? We're selling the house. I pause, pen hovering over a contract. The house. The 4-bedroom colonial where Carter got the master suite at 16 while I shared a bathroom with guests. Where family photos lined the hallway. Dozens of Carter, maybe 3 of me. That's a big decision. It's our only decision. Will you take the case? I'll need to interview Carter properly, under attorney-client privilege. He needs to tell me everything. Of course. When? Tomorrow, 10 a.m. And Mum? He comes alone? The next morning, Carter sits across from my desk, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. His usual cocky charm has evaporated, replaced by something that almost looks like humility. Tell me about the Hendersons, I say, pulling out a file. He shifts uncomfortably. What about them? Their daughter's college fund. How much? 47,000. The Patels? 82,000. But Penny, I really thought... Don't! I hold up a hand. Just facts. The Millers? 63,000. We go through the list. 17 families, life savings, retirement funds, money for medical bills. Each number hits like a physical blow, but I keep my expression neutral. How did you convince them to invest? I showed them projections, charts. I made it look legitimate, but it wasn't. Not yet. I was going to make it legitimate once I had enough capital. That's not how investing works, Carter. I know that now. I lean back in my chair. Do you remember Mrs. Patterson, my high school guidance counselor? He looks confused by the change of subject. Yeah, I guess. She was going to write me a recommendation letter for Harvard, full scholarship potential. Do you remember what happened to that letter? His face goes pale. Penny, that was... You told her I was cheating in calculus. You said you were worried about my integrity issues. I was 17. I was stupid. You were jealous, and you sabotaged me. That's not... She never wrote the letter. I didn't get the scholarship. I had to take out loans for state school instead. Carter's hands clench in his lap. I'm sorry. Are you? Or are you just sorry you got caught? Before he can answer, my assistant buzzes. Miss Dunn? There's a Gianna Stone here to see you. She says it's urgent. I know that name. She's on Carter's victim list. Send her in. Carter starts to stand. Should I leave? Sit down. Gianna Stone enters like a force of nature. Mid-40s, silver hair pulled back severely, wearing a suit that costs more than most people's monthly salary. She's one of the wealthiest women in the state, which makes her presence on Carter's victim list particularly interesting. Miss Dunn, she says, then notices Carter. And Mr. Dunn. How convenient. Mrs. Stone, I say carefully. What can I do for you? I want to hire you. I'm afraid I have a conflict of interest. I'm already representing... No, you're not. She sits down without being invited. I've done my research. You haven't signed a retainer agreement yet. You haven't filed any paperwork. Technically, you're not representing anyone. She's right, and she knows it. What exactly are you proposing? I want you to represent the victims, all of us. We're forming a coalition to ensure maximum restitution and criminal penalties. Carter makes a strangled sound. Penny, you can't? You're my sister. Gianna's smile is razor-sharp. Your sister? How interesting. Tell me, Mr. Dunn, did your sister know about your little scheme when you were planning it? Of course not. Then she has no obligation to you whatsoever. She turns back to me. My retainer offer is $500,000, plus bonuses based on recovery amounts. The room goes silent. Carter stares at me, his face a mask of betrayal and disbelief. Mrs. Stone, I say slowly, I'll need to review the case details before I can commit to representation. Naturally, I have all the documentation with me. She slides a thick folder across my desk. Bank records, wire transfers, recorded phone calls. Your brother was quite thorough in his deception. Carter's voice is barely a whisper. Penny, please. I'm your brother. I look at him. Really look at him. The golden boy who got everything handed to him, who sabotaged my future because he couldn't stand the thought of me succeeding, who stole money from families and called it ambition. Mrs. Stone, I say, I'll have an answer for you by tomorrow. She stands, smoothing her skirt. Excellent. Mr. Dunn, I do hope you have a good lawyer. You're going to need one. After she leaves, Carter and I sit in silence. Finally, he speaks. You're really considering this. I'm considering my options. These are our neighbours, people who watched us grow up. People you robbed. I made a mistake. You made 17 mistakes, to the tune of $2.3 million. He stands up, pacing. What happened to family loyalty? What happened to it indeed? My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. This is Thea, Carter's girlfriend. We need to talk. I have information you'll want to see. I look up at Carter, who's still pacing, still talking about family and loyalty and second chances. Carter, I interrupt. Does Thea know about the fraud? He freezes. Why? Just answer the question. She might have suspected something. My phone buzzes again. Another text. Meet me tonight. I have proof he planned this for months. I smile. You should go, Carter. I have work to do. That evening, I meet Thea at a coffee shop downtown. She's younger than I expected, maybe 28, with the kind of nervous energy that comes from carrying secrets too heavy for your shoulders. Thank you for coming, she says, sliding a manila folder across the table. I wasn't sure you'd want to see me. Carter doesn't know you're here? God, no. He'd lose his mind. She wraps her hands around her coffee cup. We've been on and off for 2 years, mostly off lately. I open the folder. Bank statements, text messages, emails. My pulse quickens as I scan the dates. This goes back 8 months, I say. He started planning it last Christmas. Look at the text from December 23rd. I find it. Carter to Thea. Just got off the phone with the Hendersons. They're interested in investing their daughter's college fund. This is going to be easier than I thought. Jesus! There's more. Keep reading. January 15th. The Patels are in for $80K. I should feel bad, but honestly, they're so gullible it's almost insulting. February 3rd. Mum and Dad think I'm finally getting my act together. If they only knew I'm about to make more money in 6 months than Dad made in his entire career. Each message is worse than the last. Carter wasn't just stealing money, he was enjoying it, bragging about it. Why are you showing me this? I ask. Thea's eyes fill with tears. Because I loved him, or I thought I did, and I can't live with what he's done to these families. You could have gone to the police. I tried. They said it was hearsay without corroborating evidence, but you're his lawyer now, right? This could help with a plea deal. I close the folder. Actually, I'm not his lawyer? What? I'm representing the victims. Her mouth falls open. His own sister. His own sister who he's been lying to her entire life. I tell her about the guidance counselor, about Harvard, about 20 years of being treated like a consolation prize. By the end, Thea is shaking her head. I had no idea. He always talked about you like you were this ice queen who abandoned the family. Interesting interpretation. Will you use the texts? If you're willing to testify. She nods without hesitation. Whatever it takes. The next morning, Fletcher finds me in my office at 6 a.m., surrounded by case files. You're walking a very thin line, he says, setting down coffee. Ethically speaking. How so? You met with Carter under the pretense of being his attorney. You gained privileged information. I never signed a retainer agreement. I never filed any paperwork. Technically, I was just a family member listening to his problems. Penelope? What? Are you sure about this? Once you cross this line, there's no going back. I look up from the files. There was never any going back. Not after what they did to me. What about what you're doing to them? Before I can answer, my assistant buzzes. Miss Dunn? Your parents are here. They don't have an appointment, but they seem upset. Send them in. My parents burst through the door like a storm front. My mother's mascara is smudged. My father's face is red with anger. What the hell do you think you're doing? My father demands. Good morning to you too, Dad. Don't you dare get cute with us. Gianna Stone called. She said you're representing the victims. I'm considering it. My mother collapses into a chair. How can you do this to your own brother? The same way he did it to 17 families. That's different. How? He's family, my father shouts. Blood. That has to mean something. It did mean something. It meant I spent my childhood being told I wasn't good enough. It meant watching you throw money at Carter's failures while I worked 3 jobs to pay for law school. We supported you. You supported Carter. I supported myself. My mother starts crying. We made mistakes, okay? We weren't perfect parents, but this is our son we're talking about. Your brother. My brother who sabotaged my college applications because he couldn't stand the thought of me succeeding. They both freeze. What? My mother whispers. Ask him about Mrs. Patterson. Ask him about the Harvard recommendation letter that never got written. My father's face goes white. Carter wouldn't. Carter did. And you know what the worst part is? You would have believed him then, just like you're defending him now. I stand up, walking to the window. I found something interesting in Carter's files yesterday. Financial records from your accounts. What kind of records? The kind that show you've been funding his business ventures for years, to the tune of about $400,000. My mother gasps. How did you? Carter needed collateral to convince investors he was legitimate. He used bank statements showing large deposits from silent partners. Those partners were you. We were helping our son, my father says weakly. You were enabling a criminal, and now you're broke. The silence stretches between us. Finally, my mother speaks. What do you want from us, Penny? Nothing. That's the point. I don't need anything from you anymore. So you're going to destroy your brother to prove a point? I'm going to get justice for 17 families who trusted the wrong person. My father stands up, his hands shaking with rage. If you do this, you're no daughter of mine. I meet his eyes without flinching. I stopped being your daughter a long time ago. You just never noticed. They leave without another word. An hour later, I call Gianna Stone. Mrs. Stone, this is Penelope. I'll take the case. 2 weeks later, the story breaks. Local attorney represents victims against own brother in fraud case, reads the headline in the morning paper. The article includes a photo of me walking into the courthouse, briefcase in hand, looking every inch the successful lawyer I've become. My phone hasn't stopped ringing since 6 a.m. Channel 7 wants an interview, my assistant says, poking her head into my office. So does Channel 12 and the Tribune. No interviews, but draft a statement. Something about seeking justice for the victims and letting the legal process speak for itself. Fletcher walks in with his laptop. You need to see this. He turns the screen toward me. It's the local news website, and the comments section is brutal. How can she do this to her own family? He reads, blood is thicker than water? What kind of sister destroys her brother for money? Keep reading? Good for her. Family doesn't give you a free pass to steal. My retirement fund was one of the ones he took. I hope she buries him. Finally, someone with principles? The comments are split down the middle. Half the town thinks I'm a hero, half thinks I'm a monster. There's more, Fletcher says. Carter hired Marcus Webb. I whistle low. Webb is expensive and ruthless. Where'd he get the money? Your parents took out a second mortgage. Of course they did. My phone buzzes. Gianna. Have you seen the news? She asks. Hard to miss. Good. The more attention this gets, the better. I've been fielding calls all morning from other victims who want to join the lawsuit. How many? 6 more families. Apparently Carter's been busy longer than we thought. The door opens and Thea walks in, looking pale. I just got off the phone with Carter, she says. He's furious. He knows I gave you the texts. What did he say? He said I betrayed him, that I was supposed to be on his side. She sits down heavily. Then he said, if I testify against him, he'll make sure everyone knows about my DUI from last year. Fletcher and I exchange glances. Thea, I say carefully, are you willing to testify despite the threat? Yes. But there's something else. He's planning to claim the whole thing was his parents' idea, that they pressured him into it to save the family finances. What? He's going to throw them under the bus, say they knew about the fake investments and encouraged him to keep going. I lean back in my chair. Even for Carter, this is low. Will you testify to that conversation too? Absolutely. That afternoon, I'm reviewing depositions when my mother calls. Penny, we need to talk. I'm busy. Carter's lawyer wants to meet with us. He says Carter might have to say things about us to help his case. What kind of things? That we knew about the investments, that we encouraged him. I don't respond. Penny, did you hear me? I heard you. Well, what should we do? You should get your own lawyer. What? Why? Because your son is about to accuse you of being co-conspirators in a federal fraud case. The line goes quiet. He wouldn't do that, she finally whispers. Wouldn't he? We're his parents. We sacrificed everything for him. And now he's going to sacrifice you. I hear her crying softly. How did it come to this? You tell me, Mum. You're the one who taught him that consequences don't apply to golden boys. That's not fair. Neither was telling me my dreams were too big while funding his delusions. We made mistakes. You made choices. And now you get to live with them. I hang up. That evening, I'm working late when Fletcher knocks on my door. There's someone here to see you. Says it's urgent. Marcus Webb walks in, all expensive suit and practiced smile. Miss Penelope, thank you for seeing me. Mr. Webb, what can I do for you? I think we can help each other. I doubt that. He sits down uninvited. My client is willing to plead guilty to reduce charges in exchange for cooperation. What kind of cooperation? Information about other parties who may have been involved in the scheme. You mean his parents? I mean anyone who had knowledge of or participated in the fraudulent activities. I set down my pen. Let me make sure I understand. Carter wants to destroy his parents to save himself. My client wants to take responsibility for his actions while ensuring all guilty parties are held accountable? How noble. There's more. He's prepared to testify that certain family members may have had advanced knowledge of his activities. Meaning me? Meaning anyone who might have benefited from information obtained through familial relationships. The threat is clear. Carter's willing to claim I knew about the fraud all along. Mr. Webb, you can tell your client that if he wants to play dirty, I have 17 families and a folder full of text messages that prove premeditation, plus a girlfriend willing to testify about his threats. Webb's smile falters slightly. Furthermore, I continue, if he even hints that I had prior knowledge, I'll make sure the prosecution sees every piece of evidence I have, including the parts that show him laughing about stealing college funds. That sounds like a threat. That sounds like legal strategy. Webb stands up. I'll relay your message. You do that? And Mr. Webb, tell Carter that family loyalty works both ways. He should have thought of that before he decided to throw everyone under the bus. After he leaves, I pour myself a drink and stare out at the city lights. Tomorrow, the real war begins. The trial begins on a Tuesday morning in October. The courthouse is packed. Half the town has shown up to watch the Dunn family destroy itself in public. I sit at the plaintiff's table with Gianna and 3 other victims. Across the aisle, Carter sits with Marcus Webb, looking like he hasn't slept in weeks. My parents are in the gallery, clutching each other's hands. Judge Morrison calls the court to order. The People versus Carter Dunn. Opening statements. The prosecutor, Sarah Kim, stands first. She's young but sharp, and she doesn't waste time. Ladies and gentlemen, this case is about trust. Carter Dunn took that trust and turned it into a weapon. He looked his neighbours in the eye, people who'd known him since childhood, and he stole their futures. She walks the jury through the evidence methodically. Bank records, wire transfers, the fake cryptocurrency fund that never existed. The defendant will try to convince you this was a mistake, a business venture gone wrong. But the evidence will show this was calculated theft, planned months in advance. When she sits down, Marcus Webb takes his place. My client made mistakes, he begins. Serious mistakes. But Carter Dunn is not the criminal mastermind the prosecution wants you to believe. He's a young man who got in over his head, pressured by family members who saw an opportunity for profit. I feel my jaw clench. Here it comes. You'll hear testimony that Carter's parents not only knew about these investments, but actively encouraged them, that they provided financial backing and legitimacy to what they believed was a legitimate business opportunity. In the gallery, my mother gasps audibly. My father's face turns purple. Furthermore, Webb continues, you'll learn that other family members, including a prominent attorney, had access to information about these investments and failed to report their concerns to authorities. Every eye in the courtroom turns to me. I keep my expression neutral, but inside I'm seething. The first witness is Harold Henderson, a retired teacher whose daughter's college fund vanished into Carter's scheme. He came to our house for dinner, Harold says, his voice shaking. Brought flowers for my wife, played with our granddaughter. Then he asked about Emma's college fund. What did he tell you about the investment? Sarah asks. That it was guaranteed. 20% returns, minimum. He showed us charts, projections, said his family had already invested heavily. Did he mention any risks? He said the only risk was missing out on the opportunity. Harold breaks down on the stand. Emma's starting community college now, instead of state. She says it's fine, but I see how it hurts her. Webb's cross-examination is brutal. Mr. Henderson, you're a retired teacher. You understand that investments carry risk, correct? Yes, but... And you chose to invest your granddaughter's college fund in a high-risk venture. He said it was guaranteed. But you knew, as an educated man, that no investment is truly guaranteed? Sarah objects. But the damage is done. Webb is painting the victims as greedy and naive. The second day brings Thea to the stand. She's nervous but determined. Tell the court about your relationship with the defendant, Sarah says. We dated on and off for 2 years. I loved him. I thought he loved me. Did Carter discuss his business ventures with you? All the time. He was obsessed with making money, with proving himself to his family. Sarah introduces the text messages. Each one is read aloud to the jury. Carter's words hang in the air like poison. The Patels are so gullible it's almost insulting, Sarah reads. I should feel bad, but honestly, they're making this too easy. The jury looks disgusted. In the gallery, my mother is crying silently. Webb's cross-examination focuses on Thea's motives. You're testifying against a man you claim to love. Why? Because what he did was wrong? Or because he broke up with you? We broke up because I couldn't stand what he'd become. You have a DUI conviction from last year, correct? Yes. And Carter threatened to reveal that if you testified? Thea straightens her shoulders. Yes. He said he'd make sure everyone knew. So you're testifying partly out of spite? I'm testifying because 17 families deserve justice. On the third day, Carter takes the stand in his own defense. It's a mistake, and I can see Webb knows it. Carter, Webb begins, tell the jury about your family's involvement in these investments. My parents knew about everything. They encouraged me to keep going, even when I had doubts. In the gallery, my father stands up. That's a lie. Judge Morrison bangs his gavel. Sir, sit down or you'll be removed. They provided the initial capital, Carter continues. They said it was my chance to finally make something of myself. What about your sister? Did she know about the investments? Penelope knew. She's a lawyer. She had to know something was wrong. But she never said anything because she wanted to see me fail. The courtroom erupts. Judge Morrison calls for order. When Sarah cross-examines, she's merciless. Mr. Dunn, you testified that your parents encouraged these investments. Do you have any evidence of that? They gave me money. To invest in a legitimate business, correct? Not to defraud people. Well, yes, but... And when you texted your girlfriend about the victims being gullible, were your parents there encouraging that attitude? No. When you laughed about stealing college funds, was that your parents' idea too? Carter's composure cracks. You don't understand the pressure I was under. Pressure to steal money? Pressure to succeed, to finally be good enough for my family. So you decided to steal from your neighbours. I didn't mean for anyone to get hurt, but you knew they would, didn't you? You knew from the beginning that this fund didn't exist? Carter breaks down completely. Yes, okay? Yes, I knew it was fake, but I thought I could make it real before anyone found out. The courtroom is silent except for his sobbing. When court adjourns, my parents corner me in the hallway. How can you sit there and let him destroy us? My mother demands. I'm not letting him do anything. He's doing it himself. You could have stopped this, my father says. You could have made a deal. What deal? Let him walk away while 17 families suffer. He's your brother. He's a criminal, and apparently he's willing to destroy anyone to save himself, including you. My mother's face crumples. We lost everything for him, the house, our savings, our reputation, and now he's blaming us? Now, you know how it feels, I say quietly. How what feels? To be thrown away by your own family. I walk away, leaving them standing in the courthouse hallway, finally understanding what they put me through for 32 years. Tomorrow, the jury deliberates. The jury deliberates for 6 hours. I spend the time in the courthouse cafeteria with Gianna and the other victims, picking at sandwiches none of us can taste. Harold Henderson sits with his wife, both of them looking older than they did a week ago. The Patels hold hands across the table, whispering prayers in Hindi. Whatever happens, Gianna says, you gave us a voice. That matters. It'll matter more if he goes to prison. He will. Did you see the jury's faces when he broke down? When he admitted he knew it was fake from the beginning? My phone buzzes. Fletcher. The jury's back. We file into the courtroom like mourners at a funeral. Carter sits rigid at the defense table, his hands folded so tightly his knuckles are white. My parents are in the front row, my mother clutching a tissue, my father staring straight ahead. Judge Morrison enters. Has the jury reached a verdict? The foreman stands. We have, Your Honour. On the count of wire fraud, how do you find? Guilty. On the count of securities fraud? Guilty. On the count of conspiracy to commit fraud? Guilty. The word echoes through the courtroom like a gunshot. Carter's shoulders shake. My mother lets out a sob. My father closes his eyes. Judge Morrison sets sentencing for 2 weeks from today and dismisses the court. In the hallway, reporters swarm. Cameras flash. Microphones thrust toward my face. Miss Dunn, how does it feel to win a case against your own brother? Justice was served today. That's all that matters. Will you be seeking maximum restitution? My clients deserve full compensation for their losses. What about your family? Any comment on your brother's testimony? I pause, looking directly into the camera. My brother made his choices. He chose to steal from people who trusted him. He chose to blame everyone else for his crimes, and he chose to destroy his own parents to save himself. Those choices have consequences. Behind the reporters, I see my parents watching. My father's face is stone. My mother looks broken. Will you be attending the sentencing? Another reporter asks. Absolutely. 2 weeks later, the courtroom is packed again. This time, Carter looks smaller somehow, diminished. His expensive suit can't hide the fact that he's about to lose everything. Judge Morrison doesn't waste time with pleasantries. Mr. Dunn, you've been convicted of multiple counts of fraud involving over $2 million and 23 victims. Before I pass sentence, do you have anything to say? Carter stands slowly. Your Honour, I want to apologise to everyone I hurt. I know sorry isn't enough, but I am truly sorry. He turns toward the gallery. To the families whose money I took, I never meant for this to happen. I thought I could fix it. His eyes find mine. And to my family, especially my sister, I know I said things during the trial that weren't true. I was scared and desperate, and I blamed people who didn't deserve it. Too little, too late. Judge Morrison consults his notes. Mr. Dunn, your crimes weren't the result of desperation or poor judgment. The evidence shows careful planning, deliberate deception, and a callous disregard for your victims. When caught, you showed no remorse, only a willingness to destroy anyone who might help you escape consequences. He looks up from his papers. I sentence you to 8 years in federal prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. You are ordered to pay full restitution to all victims, totaling $2.3 million, plus interest and penalties. The gavel falls like thunder. Carter collapses into his chair. My mother wails. My father sits frozen, staring at nothing. Outside the courthouse, the victims gather around me. Thank you, Harold says, shaking my hand. Emma can go to state now. Maybe not this year, but soon. The restitution will take time, I warn him. Carter doesn't have the money. We know, but at least he can't hurt anyone else. Gianna pulls me aside. There's something you should know. I've been talking to some other attorneys about forming a victims' rights foundation. We want you to head it up. Gianna, think about it. You could help other families who've been scammed. Make sure they have the kind of representation they deserve. It's tempting. More than tempting. I'll consider it. As the crowd disperses, I find myself alone on the courthouse steps. The sun is setting, painting the sky orange and red. Penelope! I turn. My father stands behind me, looking every one of his 62 years. What do you want, Dad? To talk? 5 minutes? You have 2. He sits on the step beside me, uninvited. Your mother's in the hospital. What? Panic attack, the stress of everything. She collapsed after the sentencing. I feel a flicker of something. Concern? Guilt? But push it down. She'll recover. Will she? We've lost everything, Penny. The house is gone. Our savings are gone. Our son is in prison. And our daughter... He trails off. What about your daughter? Our daughter hates us. Your daughter got tired of being treated like she didn't matter. We made mistakes. You made choices, just like Carter did. He's quiet for a long moment. I got a call from the bank today. They're foreclosing next month. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you? I stand up, brushing dust from my skirt. You spent 32 years teaching me that family loyalty only flows one way, that Carter's dreams mattered more than mine, that his failures deserved endless chances while my successes were never quite good enough. That's not... You want to know what I learned from you, Dad? I learned that blood doesn't make you family. Actions do, and your actions taught me exactly where I stood. I start walking toward my car. Penelope, wait. I don't turn around. Your mother asked me to give you something. I stop but don't face him. She wanted you to have this. I hear him set something on the step behind me. Footsteps retreat. When I finally turn around, there's a small jewellery box sitting on the concrete. Inside is my grandmother's ring, the one my mother always said would go to Carter's wife someday. I close the box and slip it into my purse. Then I drive home to my penthouse, my empire, my life built on proving them all wrong. Victory tastes exactly like I thought it would. Empty. The Victims' Rights Foundation launches on a Thursday morning in spring. The press conference is held in our new offices, a converted warehouse downtown, nothing like the marble and gold of my law firm. This place feels different, honest. The Henderson Foundation will provide legal representation to fraud victims who can't afford elite attorneys, I tell the gathered reporters. No one should face financial predators alone. Harold Henderson stands beside me, his granddaughter Emma next to him in her State University sweatshirt. She got her scholarship after all. Academic merit, not family money. Miss Dunn gave us our voices back, Harold says into the microphone. Now she's going to help other families find theirs. After the reporters leave, I walk through the offices. 20 attorneys, all working at cost for victims of financial crimes. Case files stack the desks. Elderly couples bilked by investment scams, small business owners destroyed by fake loan companies, families torn apart by Ponzi schemes. Fletcher finds me in my office, staring at a photo on my desk. It's from the Foundation's first case, a grandmother who got her retirement savings back from a cryptocurrency scammer. The Morrison case files just came in, he says, setting down a box. 300 victims across 4 states. Jesus! The lead prosecutor wants to meet next week. They're calling it the biggest fraud case in state history? I nod, already mentally organising the victim interviews, the restitution calculations, the media strategy. There's something else, Fletcher says. Your mother called. I look up sharply. What does she want? She's moving to Florida. Your aunt's taking her in. She wanted you to know. Okay. She also said the house sold finally. After the bank fees and legal costs, there's nothing left. I figured. Fletcher sits down across from my desk. She asked if you'd see her before she leaves. One last time. No? Penelope? No, Fletcher. I'm done. He's quiet for a moment. What about your father? What about him? He's been calling the office. My assistant says he sounds broken. I turn back to the case files. He made his bed. So did you. The words hang between us. Fletcher's the only person who can talk to me like this. The only one who was there through everything. What's that supposed to mean? It means you won. Carter's in prison. Your parents lost everything. The victims got justice. But you're still angry. I'm not angry, I'm focused. You're working 18-hour days on cases that don't pay. You haven't taken a vacation in 2 years. You live alone in that penthouse like some kind of corporate nun. I like my life. Do you? Because from where I sit, it looks like you're punishing yourself as much as you punish them. Before I can respond, my assistant knocks. Miss Dunn, there's someone here to see you. Says it's personal. Thea walks in, looking healthier than I've seen her since the trial. Her hair is shorter, her clothes more professional. I hope it's okay that I came by, she says. I wanted to thank you. For what? For giving me the courage to tell the truth. I got a job, by the way. Marketing coordinator at a non-profit downtown. That's great. I also wanted you to know. I visited Carter last month. Fletcher and I exchanged glances. How is he? Different. Quieter. He's been working in the prison library, helping other inmates with their appeals. She sits down. He asked me to give you something. She hands me a letter, my name written in Carter's familiar scrawl. You don't have to read it now, Thea says, or ever, but he wanted you to have it. After she leaves, I stare at the envelope for a long time. Want me to stay? Fletcher asks. No. Go home to your family. Alone in my office, I finally open the letter. Penny, I know you probably don't want to hear from me. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I need you to know some things. First, I'm sorry. Not sorry I got caught. Not sorry for the consequences. Sorry for what I did. To those families, to Mum and Dad, to you. Second, you were right about everything. About me being spoiled, about Mum and Dad enabling me, about me sabotaging you because I was jealous. I've had a lot of time to think about who I really am, and I don't like what I see. Third, I heard about the foundation, about what you're doing for fraud victims. It's exactly the kind of thing you always talked about when we were kids, helping people who couldn't help themselves. I'm proud of you. I should have said that years ago. I know I can't undo what I did. I know our family is broken forever, but maybe that's not entirely a bad thing. Maybe we were broken all along, and it just took this to make us see it. You don't owe me anything. Not forgiveness, not a visit, not even a response to this letter. But I wanted you to know that the sister I dismissed and undermined and competed with turned out to be everything I pretended to be. You won, Penny. Not just in court, in life. You became exactly who you were meant to be. Carter. I read it twice, then fold it carefully and put it in my desk drawer. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. Miss Dunn, this is Sarah Martinez. My elderly father was scammed out of his life savings by a fake charity. I saw the news about your foundation. Can you help us? I type back. Send me the details. We'll take the case. Another buzz. Thank you. You're an angel. I'm not an angel. I'm not a saint. I'm a woman who turned her pain into purpose, her anger into action. Fletcher was right about one thing. I did win. But victory isn't about destroying your enemies. It's about becoming someone they could never break. I look around my office at the foundation, at the photos of families we've helped, the thank you letters from victims who got justice, the case files of people who need someone to fight for them. This is what winning looks like. Not gold nameplates or marble floors or penthouse views. I pick up Sarah Martinez's file and get back to work. Outside my window, the city lights flicker like stars. And for the first time in years, I feel something I'd almost forgotten. Peace.